It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports,
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Hi, I'm Mitch, the co-founder of Cake, a sexual health and wellness company designed for today and designed for you. Yes, you. The entire product line can be found at hellocake.com, and it's also available in every Walmart near you.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated. Each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator. The You Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. You Like.
It is the Pete Sousa Show. That's right. We're here, baby. We are here in the Alico building. We are live high atop Central Texas. Scotty Swingler is here. Of course, Slovacics, thank you for making this happen for us. Slovacics, I bet, saw a ton of business this week because there was a lot of cars on 35 going to F1. I went to the F1 race. I'll be talking a little bit about that later on. First thing I'll say, man, it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. And I say that because the freshest experience in my mind was taking 2 hours to get out of there. The experience in itself was amazing, and I would recommend it to anybody. But it's a lot of people, dude. And unless you got a chopper, it is what it is. So, or unless you leave early, like my dad used to, which was always kind of like something I still resent him for. So probably want to stick it out. I remember we were at an Eagles game when they were wearing these helmets, and they were coming all the way back. The Eagles sucked. It was like 1987, and they're coming all the way back against the Redskins at the time. And it was probably like a couple minutes into the fourth quarter, and the Eagles had like either tied it up or, you know, drawn within a score. My dad was like, all right, let's go. We were like, what? It's like, it did not matter. Like when that dude was ready to go, he was ready to go. So I try to avoid that. And it was a worthwhile experience, man. Great time yesterday. Baylor, not a good time, right? Not a good time at all. They may need Daniel Stark injury lawyers later this week. We could be talking about that. Dave might need them specifically. Baylor losing to TCU. Obviously, we'd like to thank Socorro Family Ford and First National Bank of Central Texas, all our sponsors and partners who make this happen. And Underdog, of course, and the Doghouse, by the way. I don't know if it's official that we can talk about this, but the Doghouse, brand new restaurant here in Central Texas off University by Baylor. Place is hot, dude. And you're going to need drinks the next time you watch Baylor play. So you probably want to go there, okay? Sorry, Diet Pepsi's for some of the Baptists. I get it. But Baylor and TCU. Yeah, Baylor was embarrassed. If I could make one excuse for the team to start, which is not an excuse at all, by the way, because football is played in the elements. The rain really hurt Baylor in the first half, okay? I get it. But so did another slow start. Like another, like, you know, that scene, that scenario, excuse me. Peanuts. Yeah, let's do it to me. So that scenario, that scene, it was like a perfect, it was like a Shakespearean tragedy almost, right? Like you have all these accomplished, esteemed stars center stage for Baylor once again, right? Like Sawyer Robertson, Josh Cameron, Keaton Thomas. They're all there, right? Ready to have huge games. Bryson Washington, who needs to hang on to the football, right? But that could be chalked up to discipline, as my friend Scotty Swingler just told me. Everybody's ready to take that next step. And, you know, it's just a dark, rainy scene when they get knocked off the horse and pretty much put a fork in them in the first half. And that is, look, I go to bat for the world of football and Dave Aranda and coaches. And, hey, we've got to see what these guys are able to do with the talent they have, right? Let's not be miserable about games or teams when they're when a team's 4-2. I just think you got to give them the benefit of the doubt. When they've won 8 of their last 9 conference games, you have to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll say I understand the frustration. I mean, because again, it's weird. When I'm calling a Baylor game, I don't even like know what the score is. I'm just calling a game. But when I'm watching one, I'm definitely pulling for Baylor, and it's like painful for me, dude. And to have that feeling, you know, I talked about when Baylor came back against SMU, and I was so, you know, SMU maybe like paper tiger, right? Defensively, particularly. Maybe that was a soft target for Baylor to have that great comeback, but for Sawyer to have the ball in his hands, I was like, okay, like this feels good. I believe in this team. They have a guy who can bring us back. But you can't ask him to do that every game. Like, you know, we're going into the fourth quarter, and my main man, who I love, Lowell Galindo, is calling the game, and he's talking about how great Baylor is in the fourth quarter, especially when they're down by 2 scores. It's like, dude, if that's the scenario playing out over and over again, we got a problem. And that could be playing out because of the lack of fire. I mean, does it come down to, you know, Dave Aranda not having the fire and brimstone? I'd like to think not, because you're supposed to be able to motivate yourself. You don't need a rah-rah speech, but maybe I'm underestimating, you know, the youth of today. Maybe I'm underestimating that more often than not, that coach is a fire and brimstone guy, and maybe that's needed to motivate a college football team. Scotty, what are some of the people saying in the chat? I see the comments are coming in here quickly.
Yeah, Scotty B, Bear the Truth. Scotty B says he wants to see how the season plays out before making any decision on Aranda.
Thanks, Scotty.
Bear the Truth says we should keep going to games, win or lose. To which Samuel Holtz, what's up, brother?
Yeah.
Replied, "You are speaking the truth."
I love it.
Bear the Truth points out the other teams are taking the foot off the gas. He doesn't think the Bears are actually playing better in the fourth quarter. I think I disagree, but I understand that perspective.
Yeah, 6-1, 6 to one, half dozen to another. You know.
Yeah.
I think, and Scotty, stay here for this because this is, a great time to bring you in. I love, by the way, you can tell we have a bunch of educated people that watch this show, which is cool.
Absolutely.
I need people to be smarter than me, like a rising tide. But we do, like here, try to see the whole field and not make like totally reactive decisions. I do get frustrated, Scotty, and I'm not. This is not a shot at you at all, but like, boy, people are so ready to fight. Why is everybody so ready to part ways,
brother,
with Dave?
You seriously? Oh my gosh, you really don't see the mounting concerns?
I do.
Okay, that's
I do. But
because bro, you've been acting all season like it's all irrational. But
when the losses start to chalk, you cannot deny it.
We are now on a 4-year stretch that's not acceptable, and a 6-game win streak in the middle of that 4-year stretch doesn't change the 4-year stretch, because since hoisting a trophy in 2021, this team completely collapsed in the second half of 2022. Wheels fell off the bus. That loss to Air Force in that bowl game is one of the most embarrassing Baylor games I've ever seen. You picked the wrong quarterback for 2 years as part of this, right? Then you win 3 games in 2023. That should have been the end of it right there, Pete. I think that's what a lot of people are thinking right now. That should have just been the end of it right there, to go from championship, 6 wins, 3 wins. That's unacceptable. Especially for all these programs that are making changes this season, right? That would be unacceptable. Then last year, you start the season 2-4, unacceptable. You go on this really cool 6-game win streak in conference. You beat Texas Tech huge on the road. Like, those were great moments, but you looked unprepared to play in the bowl game against an SEC opponent. You've looked unprepared to play every single football game this season. And like the analogy I was thinking of during your intro actually was, okay, whatever, give the team credit for rallying against SMU and coming back against Kansas State, but you don't get to chop off your big toe at the starting line. And then if you pass a runner before the finish line, go, oh, look at how good of a runner I am. Yeah. No, you should have chopped off your big toe at the beginning. And it's not, this isn't an anomaly anymore.
No, it's amazing.
And so to finish, and then I'll come back to you. You mentioned the fire and brimstone thing. This isn't about Dave Aranda's personality.
Okay.
It's not. It's about a culture. It's about an expectation. Dave Aranda has done a wonderful job building a culture that aligns with the university's vision for character, clearly has something going for it that's attracting some really impressive high school recruits. Clearly, I mean, something in that building is absolutely right. But what's not right is a team that wants to go out and win football games. And I'm not saying the players don't want to win. I think the coaching staff week after week after week is ill-equipping these players to win these games. They're not in position to win. And what Cam Stewart said on Locked on Baylor Saturday night, that I think he's right. The constant comebacks and Baylor staying in these games is evidence to the talent. And it's evidence to how much these players want to win and how good some of these players are. But
that's interesting.
But going down by multiple scores every week to teams that are not as talented as you in some cases is an indication that you're not prepared to play.
And let me tell you,
that's on the coaching side.
Let me tell you what the issue is too. And I agree. Let me tell you how I agree with you, but not wholeheartedly. I think if you were to take Jake Spavital and say, this guy's inept, I think that's wrong. I think that's a foolish statement. I think if you were to say, what's going on the defensive side is just not making sense. I think that is it right there.
And I said it 2 weeks ago, Pete. Dave Aranda, the head coach, would have already fired Dave Aranda, the defensive coordinator, currently.
Yeah.
Currently. This isn't Dave Aranda at LSU. Dave Aranda, the Baylor defensive coordinator, would have already been fired by Dave Aranda, the head coach, who, by the way, is fired 5 coordinators now in his 6 years.
Yeah.
And it's not like Spavital gave us a quick boost last year. Grimes gave us a quick boost in 2021. But what have we done other than that?
Yeah.
Not gotten better. Like at some point you have to say it's not working. And what are your expectations for this program?
Okay.
And here's the thing. If Indiana, Georgia Tech, and Vanderbilt are all top 15 teams right now, Baylor can be too.
That is the best point of the morning, because it's happening more and more and more. Now, can they stay? So far, Indiana has shown us they kind of can't, right? I mean,
but I'm not expecting Baylor to be that good every season.
But see, Baylor did win a Sugar Bowl not that long ago and a Big 12 title, and
half a decade ago is a long time ago in college football.
5 years already.
This will be the 4th year. Yeah,
Okay,
this will be the 4th. So 1 out of our last 5 seasons after this year will have been success.
That last year was a nice season.
If last year was couched by some 9 or 10 win seasons, sure, I'm good with an 8-4 season. When 8-4 is your best, it's not good enough for me.
And I can't like argue with you, because as a fan, you're saying I don't tolerate anything less than. So like I get that, and you're more than a fan. You're an alum. I do think, because like, you know, your father and your mom, like you really are connected to Baylor. Like, so you really give a crap, right? Like, and I like, but is there a slight like miscue there, like with who Baylor really is?
No,
because here, let me say this. When you look at the top 20, the 2025 men's basketball preseason rankings, right? People were saying like, oh my gosh, like Baylor's getting disrespected, or is Baylor getting disrespected? Is Scott Drew getting disrespected? And then you look at the Big 12, maybe a little bit, but then you look at the Big 12 and I'm like, well, tell me who Baylor is better than these 6 teams in front of them. Because I don't think you can.
Okay.
But
here's the difference though. The Big 12 is the premier basketball conference in the United States of America.
Yeah.
And Scott Drew is still competing consistently. It's not every season like last year. Last year was a down year for Baylor basketball. But Scott Drew is competing every season to be at the top of the best conference in America.
And he won a national championship. I mean,
correct.
Which lasts
so this
longer.
isn't comparable. It's not comparable.
It's not comparable, but what I'm saying is like
the Big 12, Texas Tech just lost. The Big 12 is proving yet again this year. It is, 1, we know it's not the best football conference in America. And 2, it is the most wide open for competition. Any of these teams, any given year, can get their stuff together and compete to win it. Arizona State did it last year.
Mm-hmm.
Texas Tech, who we thought was the cream of the crop, just lost. And BYU's doing it after they lost Jake Retzlaff, and we were like, well, if they finish with 8 wins, that'll be a success.
Yeah.
So I don't want any excuses for Baylor football. If the excuse is, well, it's a religious school, private school, look at what BYU's doing. If the excuse is, well, like, we don't have as much NIL. Well, Tech just lost, and freaking Vanderbilt, I highly doubt, has a better NIL budget than Baylor. Okay.
Yeah.
Like there, and if the excuse is, well, that's just not who we are. I call BS, because I've seen Grant Taft, Art Briles, and Matt Rule and Dave Aranda year 2 have Baylor right there at the top of the Big 12. And the Big 12 is more wide open than ever. So that's the expectation. You know, and we did it for an hour last night on Please Bear With Me. And
I didn't watch, and a lot of people that are going to watch this today didn't watch. So tell me what you did.
That's what we talked about is expectations. What is your expectation? I think
I would be interested to see what somebody would say, and this is a really uncomfortable topic, but you know,
thank you, Samuel.
What did Samuel say? Scotty Smart.
He said, "Go off, Scotty.
Go off, Scotty." And this is painful to bring up, but like, you know, a lot of Art's success was that success had with young men who otherwise, under other coaches' watches, would not have been on that campus. Like
that, like those young men you're talking about were a minuscule fraction of that.
Okay,
roster.
fair.
Not to excuse what happened.
No, nobody's excusing it.
Not to absolve our Briles.
An honest question. I'm not.
But
to
say you know enough players from those teams like Terrence Ganaway, Bryce Petty, all these guys we've talked to,
RG3,
Blake Blackmars, my friend, all these guys, A+ wonderful human beings.
Okay,
right. I mean, A+ wonderful human beings who would play for.
So
any of
Art
these
didn't have
styles.
the cheat code.
No,
Art just kicked.
No. Art's cheat code was he ran the best offensive scheme in America for 5 years.
All right, let's stay with this, and then and then here you go. Are you ready?
Yeah.
So I mentioned this to you about, because I do think it's interesting, and I do want to keep doing this throughout the rest of the college football season, maybe every Monday. But let's switch this to who would Baylor hire. Because I do want to talk about where James Franklin will end up. I was texting with Dave Steckel, who was on our show last Saturday. And right when Florida, the job came open, he was like, another one, goes down. And again, like Steck is the man. If you didn't watch, Dave Steckel, ESPN analyst, coached at Missouri forever as a defensive coordinator. He was like, another one goes down. I could tell he kind of like grinds on him because, and you saw that a little bit on game day with James Franklin out there. It is kind of crazy. Like, we are all in this echo chamber. Like, these guys suck, fire them. And then he sits up there next to Nick Saban and he's like, it was wrong. And it's kind of like, I think like that is like a fraternal family thing. Like, those coaches will just, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because they appreciate
quickly, because I know you want to talk about Franklin.
Yeah.
The argument for Franklin to stay is the opposite of the argument for Aranda to go. And by that, I mean, James Franklin maybe deserves some grace because he has put together 10-win season after 10-win season after 10-win season.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Whereas Dave Aranda, we're arguing for him to maybe stay when he's mostly put together. What is he averaging now? 5 or 6 wins a year?
Yeah.
Which to me is unacceptable. Okay, continue.
Yeah. No, but Steckel said, man, that Florida job, that would be a pretty great opportunity for Franklin. Like, they might just go right after him. But then he did mention, and this was pretty interesting, he goes, but another place is for Franklin would be Arkansas, because look what he did at Vanderbilt in the SEC with he was the one who elevated.
And Arkansas has got the financial support.
They do. I mean, the problem with Arkansas, and this is from other college people, not me, is that like how much talent is in your state, right? That's like Arkansas doesn't, they do come up shy with just absolute
especially
dogs.
compared to like Florida.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or Texas. But so I'll turn the keys over to you. And I never do this because I think I just don't like, I hope Dave keeps his job. I really hope they turn it around. I really do. And I hope he keeps his job. And I hope I do get a little turned off when I open up Twitter in the second quarter and everybody's got this guy fired. I'm like,
Pete, I'll just tell you though, if that stadium is empty at homecoming the way it was against Kansas State, and if Baylor loses to Cincinnati Saturday, which would surprise me if we don't, that stadium's going to be empty at homecoming, and wallets and fan interest eventually makes a difference.
Well, that is,
and regardless of what you think on the field.
And that's a scary part too. And this is touchy too, because I really like Baylor, but like, I said that to you the day after the Kansas State game. Like, when you're Dr. Linda Livingstone and you're out there and you're seeing your team come back in this competitive game, and you look around, you're like, where the hell is everybody? If you can connect that directly to your head coach, all right. So who would you let's just say disaster occurs here down the stretch. All right, and it's a no-brainer. Or let's say Dave gets kidnapped. I'm more comfortable saying that, okay? And nobody can find him because I don't
he gets hired at UCLA.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, exactly. Either that or he gets abducted and nobody can find him because I don't even like talking about guys getting clipped. Who, especially a guy like Dave Aranda, who would you put in there? Who's your number one? Who's at the top of your wish list? That makes sense.
I'll tell you what. I can do a little more research and give you a real wish list if we get further down this road. Let me tell you the profile I would be looking for. I would be looking for someone offensive minded. We haven't done that.
Scotty's like, this is like what people do when they try to find a partner, right? Write it down, right?
Bingo. I'd be looking for someone who's offensive minded. And that is just because we haven't done it since Art Briles. It's been a decade since we've had an offensive minded head coach.
But what if you can get Spav to stay?
I'm going to describe the profile.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you something about Spav and then I'll be done. Offensive minded, I think, is important. I think it excites people in this program. I think it takes advantage of what you've got here in the state of Texas. And that's 2 for me. We have hired an East Coast guy. We've hired a West Coast guy. The most successful men you've had at head coach, other than Matt Rule, as a coach, were Grant Teaff and Art Briles. They love this state. They are rooted in this state. I think there's something in this NIL era. It's going to be really important that you're able to capture hearts, minds, and attention from Texas kids, Texas high school coaches, and really importantly, and this is where a lot of Baylor fans disagree with me, Pete. I want someone who wants to be at Baylor. I would rather not Baylor be a stepping stone job for somebody. That's where I actually love Dave. I think Dave would stay at Baylor a long time.
Me too.
And I do appreciate that about him. But I want someone who sees a job in Central Texas as a dream fit. This is why initially I would tell you I am going to give you candidates. I changed my mind. GJ Kinney fits the bill.
Yeah.
Eric Morris at North Texas really fits the bill. I think both those guys are young and could do portal really well. Jeff Traylor at UTSA, I think fits the bill for me. I will tell you the other guy because you brought up Franklin.
First two guys are money. Go ahead.
That's fine. Because you brought up Franklin. There's no shot Baylor gets James Franklin, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think he would have any interest in being here. The guy who might want to come here, depending on how his season finishes, would be a culture fit and might stay for a really long time. And some Baylor fans get sick at this too, is Dabo Swinney. And I think if, because Clemson's season is going really sour, I don't think they're going to fire Dabo.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to fire him. That would really shock me. But Mac needs to call him because he's loud, rah-rah Christian guy, family guy, culture guy. He's got 2 national championships on his resume, which automatically makes him one of the best in the sport. I think will connect really well in the state. And I think he could see Baylor, the religious school, and think, if I can get them into the playoff a few times, then I've really cemented my legacy as a coach. I've done something really good for this religious institution. And he'd have a statue next to Grant Taft on campus. And I don't know. That's who I'd call.
What about that is, I mean, I love your list. I don't like Trailer for some reason, but maybe that's because I'm uneducated.
To Spav.
What about Spav? What if you're, because Mac has, complete access to Spav. And another thing too, like, first of all, it's business, but second of all, I know Dave would understand. Like, Dave would never block. There would never be a thing like, because Spav's not that tight with Dave. It's just like,
no,
that could happen.
Here's my thing with Spav. He's not been a good head coach.
Well, in a different era, in a totally different era, because the knock on him was that he did not recruit in Texas, right?
Brother,
he was sort of highbrow.
And by the way, what did I just say? I think you have to be able to recruit this.
I think you learned his lesson, and I think the NIL.
But what GJ Kinney did replacing him at Texas State is why GJ Kinney is way higher on my list than Spav.
Okay.
Right? GJ Kinney walked into the exact...
GJ Kinney's brother was just on the team like 2 years ago.
GJ walked into the exact same scenario and instantly had way more success.
And for folks who don't know, GJ's brother played at Baylor. His dad was a successful linebacker at Baylor. Like,
correct.
So what you're saying, destination for that guy.
Exactly. 2, it might be prudent to fire. I hate saying this out loud because I'm getting in hot water with Baylor. I don't care. Might be prudent, especially if you lose at homecoming, to go ahead and send Dave on his way and give Spav 3 games as an interim just to see how it goes. And just to either say, wow, look at how the team jumped in performance when we gave Spav the keys, or, didn't really change anything. Let's open up the search. Might be prudent. I'm not saying I would do it. I'm saying it might be prudent. I've heard someone else say that privately to me, and I think that's really not a bad idea.
All right, the Pete Sousa Show. Man, riveting first 26 minutes, honestly. Thank you guys for watching. We got a ton of comments, and I love by the way, I was doing something yesterday at Baylor, or no, last week, and I was thinking about Brian, and Scotty B, the Baylor King. Brian, just please bear with me. I was like, where the hell have they been? Here they are, right on time. On a Heartbreak Monday. We're coming back with Marshall Newhouse, by the way. We're actually going to go deeper under the hood with Baylor, because I want to talk with Marshall about exactly what he saw from Baylor on Saturday. And selfishly, I want to talk more about TCU because I have TCU West Virginia. And Josh Hoover, what he's doing is super special. And a quick interview tomorrow, I'm going to tease. We're actually going to have Josh Hoover's sister, Hannah, is going to join us at 10:45. She's a reporter in Oklahoma City, one of the best in the business. And she's a buddy of mine. So I want to hear her take on all this too. Because the Josh Hoover hype train, dude, has picked up a lot of steam. The Pete Sousa Show steps aside. We'll be back with Marshall Newhouse.
Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com.
What if you could clean clean. With bio-based formulas and deep cleaning enzymes. No dyes, phthalates, or mystery ingredients. Just powerful pods for your dishes and laundry. Now you can, with drops made clean, made to clean.
Welcome to Kit Bag, the ultimate destination for football fans. Whether you're cheering for Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, or any other top club, for true football passion, think Kit Bag. Visit kitbag.com today. That's KITBAG.com, Kit Bag.
It's the Restore Clarity Focus Patch, my little secret weapon for staying sharp, focused, and on task. Each box comes with simple instructions inside, so you always know exactly how to apply it. Each patch lasts for 3 days. I love that I can wear it all day.
Samsonite is the world leader in durable, high-quality luggage and travel accessories. Travel with Samsonite and pack confidence every step of the way. Shop now at shop.samsonite.com. Samsonite. At Tusain's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Visit Tusains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.
A house is a property, but we live in homes. Home sweet home. Homes where the heart is. We aim to deliver the best home buying and selling experience so you can spend less time real estating and more time living.
Unlock a world of convenience with Mully Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. Each box is tailored to your taste. Mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com.
Better sleep, inspired by nature. Your back, hips, and shoulders will fall into perfect alignment in any position, meaning that you get deeper, more comfortable rest. Visit ecoterrabeds.com.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
Welcome to Market XLS, your all-in-one Excel solution for investors. Designed as an enterprise-grade platform, Market XLS caters to investment managers, secure and efficient investment management and research. Book your free demo.
Everybody at Ecolife really has a passion and a real interest in helping people feel well. How much further can we go to get you feeling even better? It is a complete partnership between the two of us.
So all you have to do is tap your Popple to the back of someone's phone, like that, and they instantly get your social media and contact info right on their screen. They don't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. So get your Popple today and start impressing everyone you meet. Make it pop.
It's hard to find supplements that work. No, thank you. Plant-based supplements made from the Earth's most powerful plants for your immune health, gut health, workouts, and more. Find out more at auraorganic.com.
Stability. Serving Central Texas since 1889, TFNB Your Bank for Life takes pride in being more than a bank. At TFNB, we remain committed to these principles. If you value them too, come join us. TFNB, Your Bank for Life.
The Pete Sousa Show is back. We are chilling right now, waiting on my man Marshall Newhouse. 10 years in the NFL, TCU's football analyst. And on a Monday like this, we'll welcome Marshall whenever he's ready, but there certainly is a ton of stuff to get to. Look, how about your Dallas Cowboys? 3-3-1, okay? 2-0-1 at home. Do you remember a couple years ago when they didn't lose? What was it, 2023, when they did not lose a game at home until the Packers came in and just put it on them in that playoff game? Something's happening here in Dallas. And when look, I don't want to be like, oh, I told you. But when we were looking at the record okay, in the schedule that was forthcoming a few weeks ago. I can't look. I can't believe they lost to Carolina. They should have beaten Carolina, so they really should have won their last 3 after losing that game or tying. It felt like a loss to Green Bay. My whole point is that like there's something going on there. Even Scotty said, I don't know what to think of these guys right now. Look, Javonte Williams had 115 yards rushing yesterday. Dak Prescott again, 264 yards, 21 of 30, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He looks like when the season began, okay? And I love this because you see it every once in a while with like a player who is, let's say, Charles Barkley did this all the time, right? Like, oh, he's out of shape. So then Charles would come to camp like really good. You know, he'd look really fit. But either way, he'd kick ass, right? With Dak, he came to training camp this year with a totally different look, a totally different, like, what felt like agenda and purpose. Like, he was like slim, trim, and ball is this guy's life. It's funny. Christy and I were talking about this the other night because this will feed into something else too, another hot topic. I want to go off this off-ramp, but we're still going to talk about the Cowboys. So the Miami football game, right? Carson Beck throws 4 picks, okay? I'm going to say this now, and I don't care if I get in trouble. I do not trust my quarterback with a full sleeve tattoo. I don't. I'm sorry. I think that is like a referendum on Carson Beck, and maybe like if your decision,
remind me to never get a sleeve.
Dude, get a sleeve. Just don't play quarterback. No, get a sleeve and play linebacker, play cornerback, right? I don't care. Play strong safety. You've got a sleeve. I just need a little bit more. I need Jalen Hurts. I need Dak Prescott. I need like a cooler head. Throw it all the way back like Joe Montana, right? That sleeve is telling me something about the decision-making that's kind of off and a little dicey, right? Like a little Russian roulette, which is fine. Look, dude, if sleeves were cool when I was young and good at football, because once upon a time I kind of was, I could have gotten one easily, okay? But they just weren't the thing then. Like, I could be a guy with a sleeve. Trust me, you didn't want me playing quarterback for your team. You didn't, okay? Like, decision-making, just kind of running a little hot. And then Carson Beck, after the game, and I wanted him to prove me wrong, by the way. I was hoping Miami would win. I love, grew up with the U and all that stuff. I think it's neat when Miami's good. I think it's cool for college football. And then he hung his wide receiver out to dry.
Yeah, that was bad.
Out to dry after the game. Like, and there were 2 plays last night or with Carson Beck that really I thought scouts are going to look at and be like, you know what? Maybe this guy is what he is. And one of the plays was after the game. And that was the one where he blamed his own teammate, right? I thought that was just kind of, for lack of a better term, I thought it was lame. Okay. And then there was another play where he was rolling out. And I'm telling you, like, most athletic quarterbacks, like Tom Brady in his like mid to late 30s, when he had actually, some people say, had gotten faster, would have been able to pull this boot out and head to the cone and hit it and score a touchdown, right? Carson Beck right away had the end zone in his sights, but knew he wasn't quick enough to beat the defender. So had to jab step, come back, and eventually get swallowed up. Like, that's not a good look for him either, just as an athlete, because if you're going to be a poised pocket passer, man, those 4 picks were rough. And I didn't appreciate, as a quarterback, you do kind of want to take it all in the chin. And if it's your wide receiver's fault, I think you tell him that after the game in confidence, right? Not in person. Is Marshall Newhouse, the great Marshall Newhouse, ready to rock and roll?
He is, but I have a response to your rant after.
Marshall, we won't have you wait long after this brilliant response. We'll bring you in.
Look, Pete, I love you. I'll have my response after.
No, go ahead. Say it now.
I'm pulling something up. I'll talk to you after. Let's talk to Marshall.
All right.
Guest of honor.
The guest of honor, Marshall Newhouse. What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going? Good morning.
Good to have you. So appreciate you taking the time. This is, in being in Baylor country, people are very freaked out right now. They are, and you were not only are you, 10 plus years in the NFL? Obviously, Lake Highlands High School to TCU, like your experience in Texas and with elite football speaks for itself. So you know the game better than anyone. When you see that Baylor team on Saturday, I know it was rainy, but took them a while to get the car out of the garage again. And that's been the MO for this team this year. When you look at them, did you feel like, man, this team doesn't have the fire? Even when you called the game last year, like slow starts have been a problem for this team. Have you noticed that?
I wouldn't say that at all. No, not at all. I think, listen, when they're at their best, they are a explosive but balanced attack. Sawyer Robinson gets his credit for having such a live arm and production in the passing game. But they're also at their best when Bryson Washington's getting touches and he's falling forward. They got Caden Knighton involved and Michael Turner involved. And TCU made a concerted effort to clog up the middle early, make Sawyer Robinson a drop back passer, and his favorite target in Trigg a non-factor as best they could. So I don't think that had as much to do with Baylor not having any fire as just another team having a good game plan. Now, maybe you could say, did they have a counterpunch prepared? Maybe not so much, but yeah, the rain was on both teams. Those lightning delays stunk for both teams.
It stunk for you too.
Well, I mean, yeah, this is kind of my first year full time in the broadcast booth, and just the delays. I feel for our producers and all that stuff, having to reach back to the networks and figure out time slots, all that, whatever. But yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, this was an evenly matched game coming in. I mean, this was really a toss-up. Two really experienced teams, explosive teams. And yeah, Baylor didn't get off to as good of a start as they're accustomed to. But you saw at the end that they rallied. And it feels like a lot of times they've had to turn the Jets on in the second half, coming out of halftime in the fourth quarter, make these rallies when they have the talent to maintain, gain a lead and maintain a lead.
All right, one more question on Baylor, maybe 1.5, and then I want to get into TCU and some other football stuff. Some people would say that the slow starts, though, are because, like, these guys aren't coached up, right? They're having to come back all the time. Did you notice any execution or anything there that maybe could have been cleaned up early that later on when they were playing fast and loose went better for them?
It's funny because we say the same thing about TCU. TCU's had
yeah, exactly.
I mean, they scored 0 points in the last 4 first quarters, and then they come on in the second quarter. But I don't know what it is. 11 a.m. is a tough slot to play in. That could be part of it this week. I don't know as much on the depth of Baylor's coaching staff and how they are directly kind of impacting these guys. But listen, sometimes, I talk about Kendall Briles, but just generally with Jake Spavital and offense coordinators, the first 1 to 2 drives on offense are usually scripted to a certain degree. If things don't go your way, then you kind of you throw that out the window and you start reacting to the down distance of the situation. But those first couple of drives should be scripted. And I just think both teams have had trouble executing on opening scripted drives, which are supposed to be your best plays. Those are the ones that you're like, we've schemed it up. We're never going to get this matchup. Most of the time, you're telling the quarterback, hey, if it's not here, you go here. It's a 1-2 read. You're telling the running back, hey, get east and west, stick your foot in the ground, get north-south. Like, we usually have a good idea of what's going to happen in those first 2 drives. And both teams just struggle putting the puzzle piece together that at least gets you kind of even if it's a methodical drive, a 7, 8, 9, 10 play drive early on in the game. And so you see them bringing out the punter way earlier than you'd like to. And I don't think that's a unique problem at Baylor, but it definitely feels like there's a little bit of a mismatch of execution there early in the games.
Dude, me and you we're lucky enough. We'll be at West Virginia calling the game next week. You're going to be doing it for TCU. I'm doing it for ESPN Plus. But I was getting ready for that game. West Virginia, they're struggling right now. It's just a tough time. Coach Rod even said this. I hope this is bottom. But their punter's he's the best player on their team by far. I mean, he punts for 61 yards a clip. It's interesting, right? Like that guy. We're going to be talking about him on Saturday. We talk about punters. One last thing on this. When you're on a team and people are talking about getting rid of the coach, and it seems like now in college football, fans are more hyperbolic than ever, and I think that's wrong, and I think it's a bummer. But as a player, you've been through the battles in the locker room and on the field. How do you guys respond to that? And if you think it's different today, how they would respond to it as opposed to when you were in school. Like, what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we've been hearing, people have doubts about David Aranda for a few years. I think a lot of it's unwarranted. They have had slow, whelming performances. I understand that, but man, we are too quick on the trigger in college football. When you talk about now with the portal, you've got guys who haven't even assimilated to the culture who you're expecting to show up and execute in, month 4, 5, and 6 of being in the program. And it's just, it's entirely different day and age. And I get that we pay these coaches well and we expect a lot out of them. But man, the fire under them gets way too warm, way too soon, in my opinion. I think establishing an identity and a culture is so important, and that takes time sometimes, and fans don't have the time. I mean, I understand if they're contributing to the school's collective, it's like this expectation of an ROI now because it's become so business-like, and that's unfortunate to the development of a coach, his coaching staff. I mean, trying to bring maybe younger, unproven coaches along, giving them opportunities to implement what they're trying to do, whether it's rising the level of toughness in your program or establishing, hey, we want to be a run-first team. We want to be a team that's built from the trenches out, stuff like that. It just takes time, and you get strength conditioning involved, and it's just unfortunate the way we've gone. But I think what you can, hang your head on a little bit is if the players feel like their coach, not even a player's coach, but this coach that they have a vision for where they're going, and they're feeling those effects in the locker room and practices and meetings, like the process is there, the players will respond and I think play for that coach. Because players, listen, I didn't get Twitter till 2010. I didn't have to deal with that in college. I feel for these kids now, but they're online, unfortunately, maybe too much. They hear what's going on. So I expect there to be a little bit of a reaction, hopefully a positive one, to a coaching staff that has made their vision clear, and you see the fruits of the labor, even if fans don't always see it right away. And so for Baylor, listen, they're right in the thick of things. I think we talked about on air with my co-host Brian Estridge. I think a 2-loss team in the Big 12 makes the Big 12 championship. They might be out of that running, but you just never know. And so you definitely want to see them respond to last week. Listen, they were close there with Arizona State. I mean, they're right there in this Big 12. It's so packed, so much parity. They've got as much talent as anyone. They've got a QB, which a lot of teams don't have. And so it'll be interesting to see how they respond to this adversity for their coach, and that'll tell you a lot about where the program is heading.
Marshall, I love that point you made about, you kind of find out about a team and how they respond to times like this. So again, time will tell. That's a really good point that only a player could make. What's the biggest growth for TCU? I mean, look, now we're talking, that was a make or break game for either team, as far as when we talk about getting to Arlington, right? Close to your neck of the woods where you grew up. What's the biggest area of growth for TCU been over these last few weeks?
Man, I tell you what, and as objective as I can be, it feels like they are so quick to take their foot off of the gas for some reason. I look, a lot of teams feel like they can say this. I can be honest, as a guy who played, even though this is my alma mater, as a guy who's watched the majority of the Big 12, I do tune in Big 12 radio on the weekends previewing the conference. I'm paying attention to TCU has every argument to say they should be 6-0 right now. The Arizona State loss, they're up by 17 points in Arizona State and just started doing uncharacteristically undisciplined things. And that has been their bugaboo this season. It's crazy because people, they zoom in on Sonny on the broadcast. He's beat red. And we talked to him after the game, and he's just kind of like bewildered. He's like, I don't know where it's coming from. And it feels like they have this propensity to do the wrong thing at the wrong time that really just lets a team stay in the game or gets them back in the game. And Arizona State was absolutely that. Listen, they have Sam Levitt and Jordan Tyson, who were studs. Jordan Tyson's going to be the first wide receiver off the board if he keeps playing like this. So they weren't without talent, but TCU was controlling the majority of that game. And then they just kind of let it slip away, just ticky-tack, boneheaded errors. And we can all complain about the referees, but I was always taught, don't let them be a factor. Don't let them get involved in the game. TCU had enough of a lead in Arizona State. They could do that. Kansas State. TCU has a horrible record against Kansas State, especially in Manhattan. That game was pretty even. K-State had kind of reverted back to their old style where they control the clock. Avery Johnson wasn't taking a ton of shots. He's had his struggles this year, so I felt like they were trying to just condense the game and squeeze the air out of the ball a little bit. And TCU had two just kind of boneheaded, uncharacteristic. At this point, can you call them uncharacteristic if they keep happening? But two errors in a swing pass that Josh Hoover throws. It's a lateral. It's a fumble. They don't even have to get on their offense on the field to earn the points. They give them 7 points. Then he throws a pick six, 7 points. If you take away those two turnovers, it's an even matchup, and then you throw it up. You flip a coin at the end of the game and see who can execute. And so those are two games that TCU was really just kind of allowed to get away from them, but really mostly by their own doing. And even, if you're Baylor fans listening, any team in the Big 12 listening, I played for Bill Belichick in 2019, and the thing that I took away from that tenure, that time, was just the emphasis on situational awareness and not beating yourself. And he has this quote, I don't even know if it's attributed to him anymore, but before you can win, you have to prevent yourself from losing. And what that means, it sounds coach speaky, I get it, but what that means is like the unforced errors are what gets you beat more often than not. If you can have a team that it's not even making heroic plays. You want playmakers, you need playmakers, but not making the dumb mistakes, the bad mistakes. Football is too even and too emotional of a game. If you just don't give stuff away, and more times than not, you will be in a position to win. And we see that week in and week out in the Big 12. Texas Tech this past week made some very uncharacteristic errors. I mean, it can happen. And that is really the difference between winning and losing, especially over the course of a season, especially in a conference as closely tied as the Big 12 is.
Marshall, man, this is great stuff. I want to ask about Josh Hoover. You mentioned you blocked for the best of all time, Tom Brady, right? Playing for the Patriots. When you see Josh Hoover, what traits does he have that you say, as someone who has seen some of the best of all time, if not the best, oh, wow, this separates Josh from everyone else? What jumps out at you?
Listen, it's this. It's, good or bad, he's ice. He's ice. He's made some plays this season, even last season, you're like, ooh, man, what was the thought process there? It wasn't his best. And then he comes right back and just delivers a dime somewhere and leads the team down. And so the mentality part, I think, is one of his biggest traits. This offense is high-powered, has a lot of weapons, but it goes as he goes. If he's accurate, if he's making good decisions, which towards the end of this Baylor game, he was not making good decisions. He pulled a ball on a zone read that wasn't a zone read, and he fumbles, gets Baylor back in the game. But when he's making good decisions, he's got as good a placement as anybody in the country. He's got enough arm talent to make all the throws. And the players will go to fight for him. And that's such a huge intangible thing, but they will go to fight for him. Not the quickest guy, doesn't even have the most powerful arm, but he gets the ball there, can make all the throws. But as a leader, he is even-keeled, and the players love playing for him, and they'll go to battle for him. And I think that has been one of his calling cards since he kind of emerged post-Max Duggan. TCU was trying to figure out what was going on. And all you heard from camp was like, this Josh Hoover kid's the real deal. And, Chandler Morris ends up transferring, and you see like TCU doesn't go after some QBs in the portal because they're like, we got our guy. And that's only been proven as time has gone on. And I expect him to continue to get better.
What position group has impressed you the most from TCU recently here?
I would say the defensive front, so kind of the front seven. But last year they had a new defensive coordinator, Andy Avalos, came from Boise State. He runs a multiple defense, a very high pressure defense, likes a lot of stunts, a lot of simulated pressure where guys are up in line of scrimmage, they drop and coverage, all that stuff. And last year they struggled. You could see everyone was just like slow to communicate. And even this year, when they've had struggles, the communication is on point. But when they're all dialed in, and that happens from top down, from the safeties down, this front seven has been really, really solid. And, TCU hasn't been necessarily a stout defense, but they have been an opportunistic and a really friction defense. They make you earn a lot of what you get. We saw that, on Saturday. Baylor was trying to make a concerted effort to run. TCU was, for the most part, focused on not letting that happen. Now Baylor popped a few, and I think they could have had even more. But this front seven, Marcus Deal up front's a dog. He's a very highly recruited defensive tackle, and he's playing like it. And they have a couple of transfers at the outside linebacker position that they're asked to both rush the passer, set the edge, but you'll see them walking around. Devin Deal is one. And so they have these guys who I think have all taken a step up as a group, and they really give Andy Avalos a lot of leeway to call what he wants to call. Because if you can slow teams down on first and second down, he really gets in his bag on third down, and he makes it really difficult for college quarterbacks. These are not easy reads that he gives you, especially knowing, hey, I got to throw third and long. I got to put the ball in the money. I have to make the right pre-snap and post-snap read. And he's really, when he's given that opportunity, he can dial up more. And this defensive front has allowed him to do that. They have a lot of sacks, but they don't have necessarily a stud pass rusher. But as a collective unit, they play really well together when they play the run early and then they play the pass, as a benefit of playing the run solidly early.
No, that's great. And that's a tip of the cap to Andy Avalos, like you said. I mean, when you can say we've got a front and you named a couple guys, obviously you know them all, but it's more the unit, right, and the attack than anything. That's special. When you saw, and maybe you had a chance to watch, but I know maybe you didn't. I don't know if you were in a delay or whatever, but when you saw Texas Tech had lost, were you surprised, or were you like, hey, this is the chaos of college football?
We were paying attention to some of the clips. We had a monitor in the booth, and I was not surprised, just for the simple fact that I thought, all the news about them has been about money this year and their roster construction, and less about the context in which they play in the Big 12 and the conference. People just assume, they're far and away the best. And to their credit, they had played like it. They put a bunch of numbers on people, but I just never saw them as such a outsized leader in this conference, especially. So I even called this kind of behind the scenes. I was like, all right, Arizona State, Sam Levitt gets dinged up. And when they chose to not start him against Utah, and they had that blowout, I didn't see that as necessarily just like an indication of where Arizona State was. I saw that as Kenny Dillingham is playing a little bit of chess here. He understands how important the Tech game is just from a big opponent, but for Arizona State, still trying to make the Big 12 championship. And so I think he wanted all the bullets in his gun for Tech. And you saw that game that they kind of did the thing where hey, we're going to limit big plays. We're going to stretch the game out. We're going to let Sam Levitt kind of improvise and extend plays. We're going to play as stout defense as we can and make them earn everything. And then at the end of the day, we're going to trust our guys to go make a play. Trust Sam Levitt and Jordan Tyson to go make a play, and boy, did they. So I was not surprised. I paid attention to the Big 12. I was not surprised. I still think Tech is the best team. They are the deepest. Their trenches are really stout, really good on both sides of the ball. I still expect to see them in the championship, but this game was not as much of a surprise for me.
What's it like when your team is down by a score and Tom Brady's the dude crouching down in the huddle, looking you in the eyes, making the play call, and telling you we're going to do this?
I mean, listen, you're calm, not for your own performance, because you're like, I don't want to screw this up. I don't let the team down. But you're calm because he puts in more time and preparation than anybody I've ever seen. So you're like, there's nothing that he hasn't seen, that he hasn't visualized, that he hasn't prepared for. And you're like, all right, getting that out of your quarterback. There's no situation that feels too far gone. And we had a few of those. And I played with other quarterbacks who I felt the same way about. And just, it's like it's a mixture of just supreme confidence, but preparation and just like, delusional confidence. Like,
yeah,
we're going to win. I prepared for this. We're going to make this happen. And
who was the second most behind Tom, second most confident and second most like guy you trusted?
Well, so I was drafted to Green Bay and played for Aaron Rodgers. We won Super Bowl in 2010, and we set the NFL scoring record in 2011, and just like being a part of those games, playing left tackle for him, they're just hovering on another level of just like what they call like a flow state. He was just always in the flow state, and even if we were down late in the game, just he could make every throw. Like just the we'll call it arm arrogance, just the arm and mental arrogance of like, I can fit it in here, I can get it to Jordan Nelson here, I can scramble and extend it, like just an otherworldly level of belief in themselves. And then that flows down to us. We're just like, all right, he believes it. I'm going to do my job, and we're going to go get this thing done.
When you're watching Bill Belichick and all this stuff now, do you feel like you're checking in on something in an alternate universe, or do you feel like, you know what, this is the process and sometimes it's super ugly And being that he's so high profile, there's just so much stuff there paying attention that, his process is getting drawn out into the public, right? And it's ugly getting that stuff started sometimes.
Yeah, I just feel like he didn't fully want to be here. I believe his priority was to get back in the NFL. The interviews he had and the communication he had all broke down for a variety of reasons. And this was, if you start hearing about, listen, I hate gossiping. But you start hearing about how things are formed, and there was back channeling within the North Carolina, booster base, you can call it, or whatever, to get this deal done. And then the optics of it right away, where he has a buyout later in the first year of the contract that reduces it from $10 million to $1 million, and you're just like, what? Why is this happen? Why would this felt so forced, and why this need to happen? I spoke positively about it, just from like, if he can just be a ball coach and give these guys a percentage of his wisdom, they'll be a better football team. But what we've discovered is maybe that's still the truth, but college football is an entirely different business and setup than what he was accustomed to. He hired Mike Lombardi to help with the front office stuff, which is kind of a new thing in college football, just with NIL and the management of contracts and salaries and players and portal. It just feels like a mismatch of his desires, the needs of college football versus pro football, and then just kind of the PR circus around Jordan Hudson, who is handling a lot of his front-facing stuff. And we always say winning, covers up so much, but they're doing the opposite of winning. It's like they're worse off than they were under Mac Brown, and people just look like, what did we move on from Mac Brown for this? And so it's unfortunate, because I think he's the greatest coach of all time. I enjoy playing for him. It's not for the weak-hearted. It's not for the weak-minded, but you had a chance to win, and I appreciated that about him. He's a football guy through and through. I hate that this is going to hopefully, well, we'll see how much it does, but I hate that this might tar some of his legacy towards the end of his career. So I don't know how either side gets out of this. I don't know if it's going to be a buyout soon, or if he's going to, chunk the deuce and walk away. I'm not sure, but it's not going well. And listen, he stays on, and they end up building a winner. TCU's got to play him in Ireland next year. So we have no idea what we're going to be getting. So maybe he stays on and he just rebounds and goes up from here, but it's not looking good. I'll be honest with you.
Marshall Newhouse, you used to block for superstar quarterbacks so they could throw dimes. You are dropping the dimes today, man. College football analyst, Big 12, TCU. Marshall, thank you so much. 10 years in the NFL. We appreciate you taking some time and just to honestly share some of your wisdom today, because it's, we got all this, and it's fun. There's all this talk and everybody's reacting, but it's nice to get centered with you. I appreciate it, dude.
Get centered. Hey, I'm here for therapy. I do a Raiders podcast a couple days a week, and they just got blown out last night. So our episode was just Raiders fan therapy. I'm good at
dude. You were with the Raiders in 2017. I'm like, yeah. Look, I'm an Eagles guy, but I just love the Raiders. Al Davis, commitment to excellence, just one of the coolest organizations. Yeah, man. What the hell? Can I get your what the heck is going on there?
Yeah. Again, we talk about, a regime and their culture and their identity. They hired Pete Carroll. They've got Tom Brady there as kind of an influence and a minority owner, and John Spytek. And I don't know what their identity is. They're getting the worst of Geno. They thought they were getting a little bit of the piece of his peak. He hasn't played well, but they lost Brock Bowers after week 1, and their offense hasn't been the same. Their defense is lacking some talent, so they've got a lot of work to do in the draft and free agency. I think they have a cap space. I think they're top 5 in cap space coming into this offseason. They have a lot of work to do. I didn't think it would look as bad as it did yesterday. I think it was a combination of just a really rough game, and then Kansas City's hitting their stride. So, not to say the Raiders are going to go on some run, but they're not as bad as they were yesterday. But it's been a struggle this season. They drafted Genty. People can argue at number 6 overall, is that the route they should have gone if this is kind of a rebuild? You go with the running back? I don't know. He's a talented guy, and they love him, and I love him, and they got to continue to try to get him involved because he's a stud. He's a good running back. He can do a lot of stuff for you, but they have so many holes in that roster. week to week, just the execution's not there. And so, but ultimately, even if you're struggling, I don't know what their identity is. You know, when Pete was in Seattle, they had the Legion of Boom. They played tough defense. They played cover one. They got in your face. They made you pay when they were playing at home. And then, you know, Russ and Marshawn Lynch and some of these kind of smaller receivers made timely plays. And so right now, I don't know what Pete and their staff, what their identity is. And so I'm hoping that emerges here sooner than later.
All right, where can people find you?
I'm on all the socials at Newhouse73. I do Raiders podcast twice a week called Just Win Podcast. You can find us on YouTube and all of the podcasts where they're available. And then I do TCU home radio. If you're in the DFW area, we're on 92.5 The Wolf. And then if not, you can stream us on the Varsity app. And then I also do TuneIn Radio every other weekend with TJ Reeves. You can find us on TuneIn Radio doing Big 12 preview on Saturday morning. So I'm trying to be as wide and as broad as I can and talking ball, which is I love to do. So it's been fun so far.
You're very good at it, dude. I'd love to have you back on sometime. Thank you so much, Marshall. I really appreciate your time.
Anytime, Pete. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Take care. Wow, there he goes. That was awesome. You know, I'd heard awesome things about him. Marshall and I were actually supposed to do that Big 12 show, the one I do now inside the 12. I mean, not that it matters now, but he was the first guy that they wanted, but for whatever reason, it didn't work out. He's a true talent on and off the field, and you can tell he's a really cool guy. All right, we're going to step aside, take a quick break. We will be back. The Pete Sousa Show. We'll continue. Scotty's going to finish his thought, and then one or more. You know, I went to that F1 race this weekend. I want to talk a little bit about that, and then we'll get out of here. But Slovacics, thank you so much. We'll be right back.
With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today.
Designed to elevate the off-road experience, enabling adventurers to conquer any terrain. For 50 years, you've trusted us on your toughest recoveries, to your most breathtaking destinations, and in countless unforgettable memories.
We offer fast shipping, exceptional customer support, and furniture solutions that stand up to high traffic environment. Elevate your space with BizChair's vast selection of stylish, reliable, and cost-effective furniture. Visit us today at bizchair.com to transform your business.
But boy, it looked effortless.
Man, watch this.
Layups, floaters, threes. He was like an unsolvable equation.
I was born like this.
His resilience, his strength, his belief, adversity never stood a chance.
Know your power.
VivoSun's mission is to empower growers with stylish and effective products, making indoor growing accessible and enjoyable for everyone. Visit vivosun.com today and get started making growing plants and vegetables easy and automatic.
WhyPersonalLoans.com. Request a loan anytime. Our partners can offer loans up to $35,000 with varying rates and terms. Review your loan offer with no obligation and decide what works for you. Visit PersonalLoans.com today.
So all you have to do is tap your Popple to the back of someone's phone like that, and they instantly get your social media and contact info right on their screen. They don't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. So get your Popple today and start impressing everyone you meet. Make it pop.
Is your Mac running slow? Mac Booster 8 is your all-in-one solution to clean up 20 types of junk files. Get your Mac running like new again with Mac Booster 8. Visit macboost.net today.
It's the Pete Sousa Show.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farm, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Circulon C1 Series Clad with Scratch Defense Non-Stick. Maximize cooking, minimize cleaning. Discover the unmatched durability and elegance scratch-free, worry-free, forever.
I am obsessed with helping business owners increase their traffic and turn it into profit through the power of Pinterest marketing. It's this amazing platform where people are looking for ideas, inspiration. They have a problem and they're actively looking for a solution.
Stability.
Okay, well, once again, the big guy over here, big guy being me. If you don't watch all the time, I'm 6'6.5", so that's why I said the big guy, right? Don't have that much of a presence. Trust me, you could probably kick my ass. Scotty, I walked right into the situation here. Mr. Swingler?
Pete, as your producer, I just need to tell you that right before we brought Marshall Newhouse,
who was
terrific.
Unbelievable.
I was actually just texting him and saying, we have to get you back.
Yeah, he was amazing.
He was great. Right before, you did a little segment to fill some time, and you opened said segment.
Well, let's not act like I don't know how to fill time. That's always bad.
You're terrific at it. But this was a horrible segment, Pete. You opened said segment by raving about Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. By the way, some commenters like Bear the Truth jumping in ready to come at me because I am infamously not a Dak Prescott fan as a football player.
Yeah.
He's having an outstanding year. You went on this big Dak Prescott, pro Dak Prescott thing, and then you went on this anti-Carson Beck thing, which I agree with you, by the way. I've said for 2 years, Carson Beck's a poser. He's fraudulent. But then you blamed it on his sleeve tattoos.
I didn't blame it on the sleeve
You
tattoo
said
like it gets in the way. I said it's an indication of a bad decision.
You're right. So let me quote you. I do not trust quarterbacks with sleeve tattoos. Okay, Pete. Let's reconcile those two differences in opinion. Is Dak Prescott trustworthy or not as a quarterback? Because either you agree with Scotty or you disagree with yourself.
That's a sleeve.
That is 1,000% a sleeve down his entire right arm.
Okay, look. I just got to take
it. Looks great too, by the way. He looks awesome.
Dak's the man. I got to take the L. I got to take the L. I was wrong. I was wrong about.
You trust some quarterbacks with sleeve tattoos.
Yeah, and like Dak Prescott, I trust. But look, all right.
So sleeve tattoos have nothing to do with one's ability to play quarterback. Is my conclusion.
I think it's a reflection of not the best decision. I still stand by that, and maybe Dak is an outlier. But if you put 10 guys that play quarterback up against the wall, and 7 of them have sleeve tattoos, I'm taking the 3 who don't, as long as they're elite. Like, that's my old man
so
stuff.
I just want you to know that for the rest of the season, if you want to talk about Dak
Find
Prescott,
me another quarterback with the sleeve tattoo.
Tua
in the NFL.
Tua.
Okay, he's playing terrible. So
I don't. He's better than Carson Beck.
Yeah, I think you'd be hard pressed, and you could be right too. It's like, and again, it's like what I said. If I was a good football player when sleeve tattoos were big, like I probably would have had one. But I did follow that up by saying you don't want me playing quarterback. Now, Dak is honestly totally measured. So he's a terrible example of that.
That's it. That's all. I was literally sitting here as you were talking about Beck's sleeve. Like, I don't trust a guy. And I was going, doesn't Dak? And then I Googled it and I was like, yep, all the way down his arm. He does. He sure does.
What about Sick and Bear says, who has painted fingernails?
Caleb Williams.
Yeah. We're not getting into that. I think painted fingernails are actually kind of neat.
For NFL quarterbacks?
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Do your thing.
Wait.
They come off, dude. They come off. You paint your nails. Sometimes maybe your daughter.
Which one is way more socially normal?
I don't care about the social. We're not talking about social norms. I think people.
But you just said getting a tattoo shows you have bad decision making. It's
book.
way more socially acceptable.
No. I have a tattoo. That's not true. That's not what I said.
Sleeve tattoos.
Yeah, sleeve tattoos. And it's just a lot. That's all. And get a sleeve if you want. One of my best friends in the world has a sleeve.
I think we're seeing some traditional prejudices coming out here.
That's why I need to stop. That's why I need to stop. I'll tell you who doesn't have one. A sleeve tattoo is this guy, Jalen Hurts. Right?
I love Jalen Hurts. I'm not going to talk bad about Jalen Hurts.
All right, let's react to the top 25 quickly. This has been a hell of a show.
We're having fun, man.
Just what I needed. Okay, so top 25. Every position in the top 25 has changed. I read that. Is that true?
No, Ohio State's
Ohio State's
one. I don't even have to
outside of Ohio State.
I don't know.
Outside of Ohio State. BYU, how about that? 11th
underrated,
in the country.
by the way.
Texas Tech, 14th in the country. Okay. Arizona State, 24th. Now, this question, upon looking at this top 25 or this scene, this listing, begs my question to you, Scotty.
Okay.
What's it going to take for the Big 12 to get 2 teams in?
What have I told you since August?
It's not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
Yeah.
And what I told you in August is it's not even that they couldn't. It's they have a perception problem to overcome.
If BYU stays undefeated and Texas Tech wins the Big 12 championship over them,
that could do it.
That could do it.
That could do it.
But that's tough.
But then BYU's not undefeated, because they would have lost that championship game. I think that could do it. But you've got to now overcome this perception hurdle. And by the way, we talked about it at the beginning of the season. The Big 12 lost some of these big matchups, Arizona State to Mississippi State, Baylor to Auburn, where you had an opportunity. And by the way, neither Auburn nor Mississippi State has turned out to be super good.
No.
They're kind of middle to bottom of the barrel in the SEC. And so the Big 12 has not done enough to overcome the perception. So no, but I do think BYU's underrated. I think they should be top 10 after beating Utah. I'm a little annoyed that they're not there around 8. I think I would put BYU around 8 there, right behind Georgia Tech if I were voting. But
by the way,
say la vie.
You see our boy RG3? Did you watch the end of that game? Oh, you and I were both watching together.
Yeah,
by the way,
I was
Sabrina Carpenter was awesome on SNL. She was awesome. Scotty actually improved my quality of life on Saturday.
I did. I texted it. I said, ball game. I can go watch Sabrina on SNL.
And I was like, you know what? I want to see it too. And dude,
she's hilarious.
She was very funny.
Dude, when they were doing the podcast as the teenage boys.
Oh my God, dude.
So
it was so awesome. And then the commercial right after that about plans, you guys go look this stuff up, man. It was, Chrissy and I were trying to figure it out. We were driving, so nobody looked it up, but was she like an actor before?
Yeah, she was on Disney Channel.
Okay, she's one of those like super talented.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I just knew Espresso. That was my.
Yeah, I don't know. And frankly, I had stopped watching Disney Channel when she came, so I didn't know her until she became like famous pop star.
I don't have kids. If I'm watching Disney Channel, they're putting me in prison.
Yeah, bingo. But I went back. I mean, I've obviously like read about her since, and like, yeah, no, she's super talented.
Yeah. So that was that was a lot of fun. But the comedy before started when Utah had a failed onside kick, and RG3 said, "Yeah, that kick was
cheeks."
Like, wait. Did he just say that? And I was like, okay, I kind of can live with that. It's like a little Pete, on the edge.
Can I vent something about this top 25?
Yeah, please.
There's a guy I would really like Baylor to interview to be its next head coach, who's currently coaching an undefeated team that is still not ranked. Do you know who that team is?
Well, North Texas lost.
Correct.
So it's not Morris.
So let me remind you, I predicted Georgia Tech and Indiana would make the playoff, and you roasted me for it. Do you know the other team I predicted would make the playoff that you roasted me for?
James Madison?
Navy.
Yeah, they're having a hell of a year.
Navy is undefeated. And I understand, like, do I think Navy would beat Arizona State or Michigan on a neutral field? I don't know. Probably not.
They wouldn't.
Probably not. But after week 8, if you're an FBS team that's undefeated, do you deserve to be ranked?
Well, here's the deal.
I think so.
You're right, but they're going to get a couple opportunities here. I mean, dude, they beat Temple by 1 point over the weekend, but they won. Oh, no, that was last week. I guess they were on a bye. They go to Florida Atlantic comes to them, but then North Texas, and then here you go. You want a shot? November 11th or November 8th. Sorry, you go to play Notre Dame.
There we go. So, all right, Brian Newberry. By the way, Brian Newberry, Baylor guy, head coach.
Oh, he's a Baylor guy.
Yeah, Baylor guy. I really, really think we need to call him.
I like your idea with Kenny more. All right. Anything else about this top 25 jump out at you? Vanderbilt at 10 is amazing.
I think, dude, I would just say, and viewers, please know if you're new to the show, I was born in Texas, grew up in the old Big 12. I'm a Baylor alum. I do have my biases. The SEC is so overinflated at this point. Texas does not deserve to be ranked. I'm sorry. They should not be here. I think Tennessee, Oklahoma, and Ole Miss are all wildly overrated here. I think Georgia's overrated here. It's so hard for me to look at these top 25s now and not go, man, these SEC teams are overrated. Like, I would take Arizona State right now by 10 over Texas. Wouldn't you?
No.
Really?
I'm sorry. No, I just
they couldn't get Kentucky off the field.
I know. Look, and by the way, that was gift wrap to them. Mark Stoops, if you watch that game, like
you don't think Sam Levitt and Kenny Dillingham, after almost beating last year's Texas team,
dude, I think. Look, man. Here's my thing about a school like Texas, and I do think the SEC is overinflated, but I also think that they got the biggest, baddest, fastest dudes existing and playing in that conference.
They do.
At any time, they can hand you your ass. So if you're telling me like Kansas, Texas, and Arizona State are going to play, and it's a no-brainer, like
I'm not saying it's a no-brainer. I'm saying I would take Arizona State in that game.
Okay, and I will tell you what, the odds makers would probably favor Texas. So
Texas hasn't beaten a good team this season except Oklahoma, if you think Oklahoma's good, and I would not rank Oklahoma 13th.
Yeah. No, the Texas thing is super weird because they should have lost that game on Saturday.
Yes. But my favorite performance of the weekend, by the way, and it's honored here. I watched a lot of that. Was it Friday night that Louisville?
Yeah, it was my man with the sleeve tattoo.
Yeah. Jeff Brom, just to go back to my ACC coaches list from preseason. Jeff Brom is like what 4-1 against top five five opponents or something like that. Like. That's awesome. Louisville looked good.
And another college football reaction. Poor Matt Rule, dude. You're in the top 25 and you're out, dude.
Listen, I'm going to do something I don't normally do. I love Matt Rule. That dude's a joke this week. Here's the deal. You want to talk about I don't talk about that, and I don't have distractions, and you're on the Pat McAfee show, bro. Like I really like Matt Rule. I think he's a hell of a football coach. But you have swung the pendulum too far when you have your own podcast and you're appearing on the Pat McAfee show, and then you act surprised that your team was a little distracted on a Friday night game. Like, that's on you, bro. That's on you. That's on you. You let the noise, even if you're not talking to Penn State, which I don't believe. I think he is going to talk to Penn State.
Oh, I think
even if you're not.
His agent's talking to him right now, I bet.
The fact that you let that noise create this, I'm going to go on the Pat McAfee show and address it. That is
no.
That may not be the reason.
He's been going on McAfee a lot. So like I would almost say he's going on just about every other week.
Yeah, that's too much. It's too much.
Okay, I know, but you bring up a very good point, because in the world of coaching, right? And sometimes I think now we are moving a little fast for our own 2 feet. Everybody is. And this is a great example. Okay, you're out there. We want you to be visible as a coach. It's going to attract more recruits. It'll help our NIL, right? But what if there's a head coaching job that is open that you are probably going to want? Like, now you're out there on your own platform creating stir, when you could actually just on a platform where it's like, okay, press conference. No, I'm not.
Well,
we're focused right now. You can't go on McAfee and be full of crap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's just not what it's about.
Yeah. So, I love Matt Rule. It did not shock me they lost, by the way. One of those coaches was very focused on that game and ready to win. And one of them was too busy dealing with media and trying to create an image for himself.
It was a mistake. It was a mistake by him to get that. And I think he would probably, with some truth serum, admit that. All right, F1. I'm going to talk a little bit about it because I went to the race. What an experience, dude. First of all, it was a very highfalutin crowd, but it wasn't. Like, we had seats. Christy got us seats in the grandstands, which was awesome. Like, and there are also different ways. Like, there was this Heineken Club that was right by the grandstands that we spent a lot of the pre-race time in. Anybody could get in there. It was nice. It was cool. She's having cocktails. It was like awesome. But then right before the race, we're like, you can't stand in certain places in the Heineken Club. So boom, you're back out with Gen Pop, right? And then she's like, they're kind of pressing me a little bit. Like, can you try to charm somebody? I'm like, no, dude. I was like, nobody knows who I am as it is. Like, the last thing I want is like the one person who might know who I am, like seeing me try to get my way into like a club, like with a lie, and they get thrown out, or try to get some access. That would be like more embarrassing than it already is. We play by the rules nowadays. But so you go out and you sit down to where you can see the race. And it took me like a couple minutes actually to understand, like, you know, the rhythms, how long the race was, 56 laps, you know, and it's that guy Verstappen. I mean, he didn't give up the lead the whole time. And Christy brought this to my attention, and I think it doesn't take a genius. Like, what he gets out in front and builds like a 6-8 second lead, like, and I don't know how he does it, but like he can't screw it up really, because it's not like you can even crash with anybody. Like, nobody even gets to this dude's exhaust. So what he's doing is like pretty thrilling. So it was kind of cool to see that greatness. And then just the whole overall event, they do such an amazing job. You know, those events, when they turn, you know, places like, you know, outside of Austin into a city unto itself. I mean, it's just amazing. And there was so much to do. The food was great. The service in there was great. I mean, it was really cool. The parking attendants seemed to bounce after. And that, I mean, it was literally like you're locked in for like 2 hours, you know. Try not getting into a fight with your significant other about something at some point. It didn't work for me. But we're all human, right? But it was a pretty cool event. Truth be told, I would do it again next year, no questions. As being someone that's a little older, like I am over like the sitting on my ass in the sun for like a while. I'm just old. Like I that's like not something that, like, I could have left that race after the first 30 minutes, no question. But again, we talked about it at the start of the show. Like, that's why my dad was an asshole. So he wasn't an asshole, but at events like that, he was impatient and he wanted to beat the traffic all the time. And I'd rather not have the people around me have to deal with that luggage of mine, right? I can wait in the parking lot for a little extra. But what, man, a lot of people. And there were a couple times, I don't know that I've been around, you know, we call big games and, you know, 80,000 people in a football stadium, but I don't know. I can't remember a time when I have been down in the trenches with 160,000 people. I mean, at times it can get a little scary. Like when you're trying to leave, like there's bodies everywhere, like trying to go out in a certain direction through certain tunnels. But yeah, I would recommend it. It's expensive though. And Christy could tell you more about that because she actually bought the tickets. But yeah, it's pretty expensive. But yeah, a really enjoyable experience. Anything on F1, Scotty? Do you have any F1 opinions? Nah. I mean, do you know anything about the sport?
Very little. I mean, I know lots of folks are very into it. I think if I were invited, I'd go, but like I don't have a strong opinion.
Yeah. Okay. I could see why people will get into it. It seems like
I mean, if you would, I know enough to know if you'd asked me who would you put money on before the race, I would have said Verstappen because I know he's like.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't have said Norris like I did and lost money. So good job.
You should have texted me.
I should have.
You should always text me.
I should. Yeah, you were 1 for 1 on Saturday with Sabrina Carpenter. So, all right, the Pete Sousa Show. We're going to be back tomorrow. We're talking with Hannah Hoover, sister of Josh Hoover. And we're also working on some other big time guests. So tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to Kansas City for the Big 12 Media Days. And then I'll be, Thursday, I'll be in, I'll be there. So I'll do a show Thursday, like from the hotel around Big 12 Basketball Media Days. So like, I will tell you, if you're a Big 12 basketball fan, like that Thursday show is important for you. And I'm going to have a ton of info. And a lot of inside info, might have a couple big time interviews. So like, you're going to want to be dialed into that Thursday show like you are to all the shows. And then Friday we'll be in Morgantown, nice and settled, ready for the show before the TCU West Virginia game. So an active week, a lot to look forward to. Thank you, Scotty. Thank you, Chris Visser. Liz is here. Liz went to a wedding over the weekend. Woo, boy. Drama. Can I say anything? No, okay, I can't say anything. All right, Liz is tired. Can't say anything. We will see you tomorrow.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level when we shut down to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning. So we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is Stark.
Show. Sports.
Our professionals are not only experts in managing urgent concerns, but also in providing top-notch preventative health care. We're proud to connect pet owners to a vast network of licensed veterinary professionals, ready to address any immediate concerns. Book your first appointment today.
Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.